So I'll be teaching you on how to create animated videos using PowerPoint. I'm sure at some point, we've all been at the stage whereby we sit as the audience in a boardroom or in any space at all, in a meeting or something, and then you have the person presenting, reading out a bunch of text from his screen or his PowerPoint presentation, boring the entire room, the entire audience. Everyone is bored and sleeping. Trust me, that is pretty much how it is. When I also started off using PowerPoint, when I started off my career, it was a whole lot of task, trust me. So we've all been there at some point in time. So what I'm going to teach you now is how to create animated videos using PowerPoint. So even though you're not interested in creating animated videos, I trust me, you have some skills and knowledge you can get from here to take your presentations to the next level. So let's just talk about something vague. Let's say I want to introduce an engineer in my organization, right? I want to talk about his accomplishment, what he does, and where he started from. So it's something vague. So instead of going about it, talking about something like this, meet Temi, an automation engineer at Greenpeg Engineering, a team of several engineering services. Temi does on-site troubleshooting, maintenance of control system. Just boring. I am very well certain and sure that you are all bored at the moment, me reading out all this text to you, and it's more or less like, excuse me, I can see what is on your screen. So why are you still reading this out to me? So instead of putting up something like this, why not try something like this? Meet Tammy.
Hello.
An automation engineer at Greenpeg Engineering, a team that offers several engineering services. Tammy is vast in on-site troubleshooting and maintenance of control systems. Her vast knowledge recently put her on the podium as an award winner in the Automation and Robotics Expert category of the Connected Awards. Believe it or not, her journey did not start here. It all began with her securing a college degree from Landmark University, and being one of the few ladies in this field, her determination and perseverance has brought her this far. So trust me, all that you just saw now was totally made with PowerPoint, nothing else. Everything was done in PowerPoint. So the next few slides, I'll be teaching you how to create something like that creating animated videos like that using PowerPoint, whereby you can communicate more with your audience without having to bore them or just say so much of things from the presentation, talking about so much of text. So I'll be taking you through this presentation, explaining how you do this step by step. So let's get right to it right now. So my name is Ayomide Otokiti, and I'm here because I love making beautiful and mind-blowing presentations. So join me as I teach you on how to create animated videos using PowerPoint. So the first thing we have to do, which is called storyboarding for the video content. I call it storyboarding. So before you get to do any slide, any presentation at all, you have to be sure that you know what it means to storyboard. Storyboarding, I will not go into the details. So more info on how to use a storyboard or how to storyboard will be taught in a pre-recorded PowerPoint course that will be coming out soon. So this is more or less like the content of the video I want to create. Storyboarding is basically a detailed content of what you want to create, a detailed thought process of what you will be creating. So the first thing in my video content is I want to introduce an engineer, which her name is Temitope. I want to show a picture of Temitope standing in front of the factory as an engineer. The second thing is I want to show Temitope inside the factory. Since I said she's an engineer, I want to show her troubleshooting, repairing, and maintaining control systems. So the next thing I want to show in that same scene, in the second scene, is the fact that Temitope just won an award. She was put on a podium where she won an award in the Automation and Robotics Expert category of Connected Awards. I also want to show a scene whereby a factory engineer is coming to see what Temitope is doing during our troubleshooting phase. All these things are not difficult, trust me. Last thing I'll be showing in the second scene is a factory civil engineer discussion with the factory manager. So they're just discussing, and then you can see where they go and meet. So it's just a thought process. That's why I call this storyboarding. You get to picture what you want and write it in text, which will guide you as to what you want to create in your main presentation. So the last thing will just be showing Temitope graduating from the university. So more info on how to use Storyboard will be taught in a pre-recorded PowerPoint coming out soon. So if you want to know more about how do you get to Storyboard, that will be taught later. But let's go down to what we are here to do today, right? Which is creating animated videos using PowerPoint presentation itself. So what we'll be trying to create is exactly the video I just showed to you a few seconds back, right? We've already storyboarded. So the first thing we'll be going down into is designing the scenes. So first of all, we want to design the scenes. When I mean designing the scenes, it means creating a visual representation of how you want the scene to be. So I'll be taking you right to it now. So you have your PowerPoint open here. So the first thing you want to do is to format the background of this particular slide. So you right-click on this, you have the format background. So everything we want to do today will be done totally in PowerPoint. So you go to the format background, you have the picture or texture field. So you insert a picture. So if you're trying to insert a picture, I said the first slide is showing Temitope in front of a factory. So I'll go to online pictures. Once you load your online pictures, you type in, for instance, in front of a factory. So I'll just type in factory illustration. So be sure to put illustration in front of whatsoever picture you're looking for so that it can give you a transparent picture, something that you can move around without having a white background, that kind of thing. So if we type in factory illustration, it's going to give me some options. So I could just pick from the options available. I have some pictures saved on my system already, but pretty much this is how you see factory illustrations being set up. So we'll be using this. We'll be using a few other pictures. So I'm just picking a few ones I can get now while I get. So I'll be picking one of that. So I picked one of the factory illustrations I have there. That's the factory illustration. So if I insert and use in format background, you can see it's going to format the background directly. So I could create another empty slide whereby I could look for another picture. So this is for the second scene. I'm picturing Temitope inside the factory. So this is like inside a factory. We are looking for a picture that shows Temitope outside the factory. So you go to insert picture again, online pictures. Everything is going to be done on PowerPoint, trust me. So factory illustration, we can go again. It should bring up something I've used. So if you type that in, it should give us something. Yeah, exactly what I've used before, right? So I have this format in the background with this exactly. But in this case, I don't want it to be exactly the color of my background. I don't want it to shrink like this. So I want to enlarge the picture. Once I use format background, I won't have the opportunity to resize like that. So I could just save that picture, or I could go directly to insert. You come to picture, and you go to online pictures. So once I go to picture, online pictures, I type in factory illustration. So I have my picture here. I click on that. It's going to give me some things I need to delete off. And I can enlarge to suit what I want, right? Can enlarge to suit what I want exactly. So this is in front of a factory, exactly the way I want it. You could have some design ideas, but since you're trying to create your own, you're trying to create what suits your presentation, you might necessarily not need design ideas from. So that is the factory illustration we have there. So now I want to create like a green grass in front of this factory. I want to put something like a green grass. So I have some pictures saved, but for reference sake, just go straight to insert, go to pictures, online pictures. Then you can go to perhaps same thing, illustration. So you're looking for pictures that are transparent, which will not have backgrounds, right? So we could just pick from here. You just search something that will suit what you're looking for. So I could just go ahead and search here and check for some grass illustration. So let's use this, right? Let's use this, insert. Good. So it's going to download the picture. You adjust to size. So I want it to show in front of the factory like this. I want it to show in front of the factory like a green grass. So you can drag across. You can drag across it like this. Make little adjustments. So it's still showing in front of the factory. So you send it to the back. So it's going to align with the factory itself. So it's coming out pretty much good. If you see this, it's coming out pretty much good, just as we want it. So next thing is, now we want Temitope to show in front of the factory. So I already have some pictures saved. Same thing, you go to insert pictures, go to online pictures. Temitope is an engineer, right? So you can just type in a female automation engineer illustration. So you have to type in exactly what you want, but be sure to put illustration behind it. So we have pictures like this, we use pictures like that, you see pictures like this. As much as you want, you could just pick up pictures that you have. So I'm not getting all that I need, but I'll bring those ones in at the moment, right? So I can use them. I can still use them later, and I will take them to size, shrink them to size, put them in some strategic positions as I want it to be, adjust it, do the same thing. So now we're still building the scenes, right? We're still building the scenes we want, putting up our characters and inserting them into what exactly we want. So we're building the scene, just picturing based on your storyboard, how you want this to be. So we have to, so let me just insert the last picture I have saved on my device. I already downloaded that too from online pictures. So be sure to go to the online pictures when you're looking for specific images. So I have this. This is a picture of Temitope in front of the factory. So I just drag down like this. And we are set on this. The images for this particular slide is set, for this particular illustration is set, right? So we move to the next part, whereby the next slide, the next scene, which is, we have 3 scenes. Second scene, I want to show Temitope inside the factory environment. So I'm still going to use pretty much some of these things I have here, some of these pictures I have here. So I can just copy this, Control-C, page down, Control-V, and just get to position it the way I want it. So you can resize this. You can get to resize this. Just put here. Then we could just create like so now we've put position Temitope being inside the factory. The next thing on our storyboarding is Temitope was put on a podium, right? So I want to insert a picture of Temitope from my device. It's also gotten from online pictures, but just to save a little bit of time, I'm going to bring up any of Temitope's picture that has been saved, right? Any of Temitope's picture that has been saved. So I have this here. placing on this particular spot, serving as my podium. So now, next that I'm trying to look for is, like I said, this factory civil engineer is discussing with the factory manager. So I have pictures of two men, which are engineers, from my device as well. So we go and just search for them, insert, so that we just save ourselves a lot of time, right? So I could now go and place them where I want them. So this is the civil engineer, and this is the factory manager himself. And we have a scene whereby the supervisor is coming to check what Temitope is doing, So then we have one last person illustrating maybe a fault on a machine part. So I don't want this to face this. I can easily come here to this arrange and change and flip it horizontally. So you can see the image has been flipped, right? So all these were just creating several scenes. Creating the scene won't take so much of time. Just very quickly, you're set and you're good to go. So we said Temitope is also troubleshooting. So I have an image that shows where Temitope is troubleshooting. So all these images, you get them from online pictures. Yes, you definitely get them from online pictures. So I have one more image to be inserted here. So I can't find that here. So I'll go to online pictures. Okay, online pictures, and look for a female engineer working illustration. So as far as you can think, you can create anything you have in mind, as far as you can just think or imagine. So this is the picture we're looking for the other time. That is it there, as we can see. So just all these pictures we've used, I'm just looking for one specific picture of a female engineer currently working. I think I have one whereby she's lying down, else I'll have to go pick or lift from a particular. Okay, yes, perfect. This is the picture that I'm looking for exactly. So we have the picture, but I would like to reduce the size of this to show. Then I will need to snip this. So you have to crop this out so that it reduces the size of the image you're working with. You can easily crop that out. Then since she's working on the machine and I crop the hand a little. So perfect. So I want to show whereby she's working on a particular machine, right? So it's showing she's working on a particular machine. So one last thing we'll be doing here. So there are venues whereby you can create 3D models inside a scene itself. So it's inside a factory. I want to create a scene whereby a drone is flying through, and maybe just a surveillance drone flying through and checking what they're doing. So you go to insert. Once you come to insert, so you click on this particular place, you come to 3D models. Or yeah, let's just go using 3D models. So you check stock 3D models. So you just type in drone. So it's going to bring a lot of options of drones for you. Yeah, so you can go with whatever you want. So if I insert this, it's a drone, a 3D drone. You can see it's going to give the feel of a rotating equipment inside your presentation itself. So we're pretty much finishing up on creating the scenes. Then we'll move to the next thing, which is animating this all these icons and characters that we've put inside our presentation. So just waiting for the drone picture to download. Yeah, pretty much it. Good. So yes, giving me what I wanted. So it's a 3D picture. You can rotate to give you what you want, right? You can rotate it to give you exactly the way you want it to show in your presentation, Then you can resize it. You can resize it so it doesn't get too big. You can resize it. Good. Then I get to drop it somewhere around here. Can just resize a little bit. Yeah. So that's pretty much that for the drone. I just want to give a feel of a surveillance inside the factory environment also. So that is, then we just want to create one last thing inside this scene. So I want to give it a feel like if flooring is here so that it doesn't look as if they are directly just lying low like that. So just to give it a feel that this are actually lying on the floor. So I just create something similar to a flooring, drag across this. You could give it another format, picture, you go to picture shape format. Hide this, I float in this. So you go to the shape format. Once you go to the shape format, go to shape fill. You could give it a floor kind of feel, something not too bad. Also outlining, give it the same color. So it gives a feel like they're standing on the floor. So it's looking pretty much like it, yeah? So don't forget that majority of the pictures we have inside this our background, it's already a created picture. So you really cannot do much about it. But you want to create a feel like it's inside the factory, machine moving parts. So you can still create an environment whereby you see a gear moving. So that's one of the things we'll put into the scene. So this is pretty much one of the scenes that will give us a lot of work whereby we have to put in so many things and animate so many things. So I want to create a gear that is rotating. So what I need to do is there are templates, there are sites where you can move and check for several templates and move all these gear from. So you could not necessarily, so don't let's leave PowerPoint like I said. So I go to insert, I go to icons. From the icons, I type in my gear. It's going to give me illustrations of gears. So I can just pick up one and insert, good. So I have a gear here. I could just put it around this. Then I could create Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V. I want something smaller. Create something smaller. Just several rotating parts here. Just make sure your aligns. Good. And you could give the graphic format, graphics feel. You could change it to something else so that it gives it different feel. So once you animate this, it's going to make much more sense. So let's just give it some funny colors, right? So Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, do the same thing here. Go ahead, do the same thing. Give it another color, if you will. Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. So we're just going to put in all this, then we animate later. Animate that later to give us the factory environment feel that we're looking for. Then next is this. We'll put here. So it might be looking too big for so many gears. So let's just reduce the sizes. Reduce the sizes. So get the same size, delete that. So that will get the same sizes, delete that as well. Sorry, take it up. Just minor adjustments we need to do. So that is for the gear illustration we want to do. So we'll be able to illustrate the moving parts shortly, not a problem. Be able to illustrate and show the moving parts. So now I have indicators on my picture, which I want to show that it's blinking. I want to ensure that it shows blinking while I'm recording my video once it's speaking. So I still go to insert. Now I go to insert shapes. I look for a similar shape, which is this, that looks like that of a bell. So I rotate that. That looks like an indicator. So I take it to shape, bring it on this, make little adjustments so that it fits, and match it to that, right? Pretty much that. Good. Control C and Control V, the same thing is done. Match it to this. So this, we fill this to yellow or amber, give it an outline of the same thing. Do this, which is red, give it a fill of the red indicator and give it an outline of the red as well. So it's coming pretty much like that, what we want, right? So what else? So we want to give something that we give a feel of an HMI here, something blinking on the screen as well, right? So we can just go to same thing, insert pictures. That's why I said it's pretty much a straightforward thing to do. Insert pictures, we go for a SCADA illustration, right? SCADA illustration. SCADA illustration, and it comes, I find so many things, or maybe just even a few. So I can't find anything on SCADA, I go to HMI illustration. So yeah, maybe I could find something pretty much this. Yeah, good. So I'm just going to scroll through and see if we could find anything that we could add some indicators to, and then we close it right there. Okay, so nothing so much to use. So I'm going to pick whatsoever I can see. Okay, so let's use this. Let's just use, it's something funny, but then let's just use that. Yeah, so it's going to give us a feel of an HMI. So we have so many buttons blinking here and there. So we're just going to look for a circle to match so that we can create for the red and possibly the green. So we'll just go to insert a shape, look for this circle kind of shape, which is what we're using pretty much around every other thing. So we move that. So it's going to illustrate a blinking light here once we start our animations here. So we have this here, and we create a shape fill. We give it the red, and also we give it the red outline. So we adjust that to fit. That's pretty much good. We'll copy that and paste so that we can create a green one out of it for somewhere around here. Then we give it a green fill. Then we give it a green outline. So pretty much that. Just do a little bit of adjustment so it sits right where you want it to be. And then so we're good to go on that, right? We're good to go on that. So I'm just going to copy this and then possibly move it to somewhere else whereby it could be used. So maybe I could just want to use it here as well. So just making sure it fits to whatever you want. That's, so let's leave that there while we go ahead to creating the last scene. So create an empty space. We said landmark university, right? She's on her graduation day. That is what we're looking for. So you go to maybe online pictures, but this time around, it might be quite difficult to find a picture of the specific school online. So you can just switch directly to your browser, go down and check for landmark university. So you get some pictures of landmark university online, or depending on the school you want to use. So this is the picture I want to use. So I copy the image. I go back to my presentation. I insert image. Good. Then, or Ctrl Z. You go to format background. You go to picture fill, insert, but no, you go to clipboard. So it's going to paste whatever is on your clipboard, right? So pretty much what we have on this same picture here. So to me, it's not so clear. So I'll rather just paste the picture directly and then enlarge it. Formatting the background with the picture won't give me a very clear picture as I want it to be. So I could just basically work with this. Basically work with something like this instead. So pretty much this, right? Looking almost the same, but then I think we're good to go on that, right? So what else for the last thing, want to show Temitope graduating? So I go to my insert pictures, go to online pictures, show college students graduation or graduating illustration. So you have pictures like this. You can select that. You search for any other pictures you have. You can select this as well. Several pictures can come up. You can select this just to show the feel of students that are graduating from college. We could use any more. We find if we don't get any more, I think we'll stick to those ones. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much okay. Yeah. So whatever you're typing into this online pictures, be sure to use illustration at the end of it. Be sure to use illustration. PNG also works. Yeah, you're looking for pictures that are transparent and will not give you some background to deal with. So you're looking for transparent pictures without a background. So I'll insert this, and then while we wait to download those pictures, downloaded. So I click on this. I remove the other picture behind them. And then I need just this to signify as Temitope. So I'm going to crop this out very quickly. I'm going to crop this out. So just going to show Temitope alone. So I have that ready. Deleting all these excesses. So I have some other graduates. I just drop them behind. It shows maybe they're coming out of a particular building or they're also celebrating. And Temitope here is the highlight of the day. I bring that to the front here. And I have one here, which is also very happy she's finishing from school. But I need to swap this. So I click on this, rotate and flip, so it shows her facing this other side, excited to be leaving school, right? So we have that there. Good. So I'm thinking the picture wasn't so clear, but then it's fine. It's still going to be the same thing, I guess, once I try to enlarge it. same. So that is pretty much what we want to show. So I'm going to reduce this a little more. She's coming from engineering building. So this is this is my school. That's why I'm mentioning the names of the building, right? So you get it. So just one last illustration. Okay, I think maybe that's fine. Insert online pictures. Insert pictures. I need a chair illustration. I want to really avoid putting so much of animations because then animating them takes some time. So might actually stop putting in so much of characters from here, just so to save time. So I think we can just make do with what we have, right? We don't need some extra text. I just needed to put a chair to showcase something, but I think we're good to go. We're good to go on that. So this is fine. So now we've created our several scenes, right? Created the scene where Temitope is in front of the factory, created the scene whereby Temitope is inside the factory, we've created the scene whereby Temitope is finishing from school. So next, which is we just finished designing the scenes. So the next here is animating the scenes. Animating the scenes means create some motion parts, give some movement to these characters that we put into the scene. So it comes to life, it gives a life to the presentation, gives life to your presentation, right? So we move into the first slide. So this is where the animation pane is. So animation, once you go to animation, you click on the character you want to animate. You click on animation, it gives you several options. So you have the entrance effect, you have the emphasis effect, you have the exit effect, and then you have motion part for the recent. I'm using Office 365, right? You have motion parts. I'll show an example of where motion parts is being used. So for Temitope, we'll be using a combination of effects, right? Because we want to give it a different feel, right? So I'll give Temitope first of all the entrance. So I'll just give her the floating. So she floats in. But then I want to introduce her. So once I say meet Temitope, she says hello and shakes her head a little. So I want to give her a little bit of yes. So she just shakes her head a little. So giving, but then so you give the floating first, then you add animation to that. You add an animation which is the theta, so she shakes her head, right? Then these two other engineers which are standing in front of the factory, I could just give them some more entrance effect, something they're coming out of the ground. So it gives them that feel of coming out of the ground, which is peeking. I'll do the same to this character here. So that's pretty much that for this particular slide. So just to get a feel of how it looks like, you can see Temitope comes in, she shakes her head. These other two also, they come in. So that is for that. So we'll move to the next and try to animate all this as well, right? So I want this to also give it a peeking from the podium, and then she comes up there. Now I'll be giving some advanced animations here. So this will also, they will pretty much have similar animations, but just a few will have additional animations. Giving it a peeking. I give this also the same animation just very quickly. The peeking. Then okay, so now based on my storyboarding, I said the factory manager is moving towards the civil engineer, or the civil engineer is moving towards the factory manager. So this, we're going to use an animation called the motion parts. So you can see we have something called the motion part here. So I check for more motion parts. I want him to move from the left to the right here. So I move up like this. So you have from right to left, from left to right. So I'm going to give him the motion part. So to adjust the motion part, you're going to see a red dot. So that gives you a room to drag to the point where you want the factory manager to stop when approaching the civil engineer, right? So it's going to give you a point where you want him to stop. So it stops there. Then you have the supervisor. So I have my supervisor. I want him to walk in to the factory to see what Temitope is doing down here. So I'll give him also a motion part from left to right. So I'll check for more motion parts. I give him a motion part from left to right. So where do I want him to stop? I want him to stop just in front of Temitope, where she's fixing a particular machine, right? So that is it for that. Right? Maybe reduce the size a little. Okay, good. So now I want to give a motion part to my drone. So I'll go to more motion parts. Now I want it to like rotate and move around the factory. Yeah. So I give it a kind of turn down effect. So I click on this. It's showing me where I want it to go. So I can drag this across board. I can drag this across board. And then I can adjust this a little. So it's pretty much fitting. Here I can still reduce my drone size a little. So it doesn't rotate around the machine, right? So just pretty much this. Good. So we have the drone giving us a view around the factory, doing some surveillance around the factory. So it's going to be somewhere around here. So we've given a motion part to the drone as well. So there are so many things we'll still get to do as regard that. So now I want my gear to move. So I'll give it a spin effect. So it's going to keep rotating, right? I give this one moves clockwise, this one moves anti-clockwise. So I also give this a spin effect. A spin, that's an emphasis kind of effect. So it asks for effect options, whereby I get to choose counterclockwise. So this one moves clockwise, this one moves counterclockwise. And so you do for everything. You give it the spin effect. This one moves clockwise. This one moves counterclockwise. Just change the effect here. And you give this normal spin effect here. All right, so right about that. Then we have our indicators, which are blinking. So we go to emphasis, more emphasis effect. We want to give it a blinking effect. So give it that. We come to this as well. Give it, come to the more emphasis effect. We give it to blink. So all the things we created for a factory field is what we try to do. So make it blink. Create another factory field here. We made all these things blink, no, not an exit. So what I want to give to this is more emphasis, blinking. Good. So one last blinking here is for more emphasis effects. Go to the blinking. So pretty much about that, we've been able to animate that. Then our characters here also, we give them the same animation to picking, so more entrance effect. Give them that, the picking effects. Give them the picking effect here as well, more entrance effect. Going to picking as well. This now we've animated majority of our characters. So what I want to do is to make Temitope transition into this slide. You can see we didn't animate this character. So I want Temitope to transition this same image to transition into this slide. So we're going to be using the transition pane, which is also part of animation. So transition is called morph. So before you can morph an image into another image, you have to have that same image in the next slide, right? So I want to morph Temitope into this slide. So I'll click on this, and Temitope here, I'll click on morph. So pretty much that. So if I click on this, so you can see Temitope comes up here. Going into the next slide, this will all be animated. She morphs into the next slide, right? So she morphs into the next slide, pretty much what we want to do there. So that is being achieved. We've animated that. So you telling a story, we'll get to understand better. So now there is a timing to which you want to make all your animations come up, right? So I go to my animation pane. I have all the pictures here and there. You want it to come right after the next one without going on click. So if you see the first picture we put, it's on click, right? The next theta, which is for her to shake her head, is also on click. So we want to just adjust that from the panes here. We want to just adjust that from our panes here. So you click on the particular list, so you start with previous. So it starts exactly with the previous. So you click on this as well. You don't want it to be on click, so maybe it starts after previous. So once she shakes her head, so you want this to start after previous. You also want this to start after previous. Pretty much how you want it to go. So once you light up your presentation, you click, and then she shakes her head, the other two image comes up. So that is you giving it an accurate timing for coming up, right? So you can now decide, okay, the duration, but the first is on click, followed by the second, gives a 1 second duration. So we'll move to our next, our next scene, where we are trying to animate all this to give us the feel we want. How do we want them to show up? After how many seconds do we want this to show up? Because we're telling a story that Temitope is good with troubleshooting. So she's troubleshooting in an environment. When do I want all these animations to come up, right? So the drone is the first thing that is coming up here. So immediately I transition into this slide. I want the drone to start with previous. The next picture is Temitope. So I don't want Temitope to come up on the podium immediately. I can move her down to any other side. So the picture here is having, so we have some pictures, right? So you can just click on the particular picture so it will guide us. So I want this to start with previous, this next to also start after previous. So immediately this picks on. I want this to start after previous. Then now the motion part for this should come up. Immediately this is coming up. So you start with previous. All this could be moved up to start with this particular picture. Okay. And then it could start with previous. So all these other graphics, you could move them to start with previous. So pretty much you just creating what you want out of a particular image. Start with previous. So that's the consequence of adding so much of animations as well. You have to deal with aligning them to be sure they give you what you want. So you try to align them and ensure you get what you want. So you could give this to also just ensure they're all starting with previous. You still later maybe get to do some adjustments. Pretty much that. Then you have to give now. We have to give, if we take this into a presentation mode now, we'll pretty much see so many things. You can see the speed of all these items moving just too fast, way too fast. So we have to give a proper timing to them and reduce the height of this so that it doesn't look too big. So I click on my drone and its motion parts. Then I go to timing or effect options, anyone. So duration is 15 seconds. I want it to move for, let's say, 10 seconds, right? So 10 seconds is fine. I move to the next, which other one is having a motion part. Okay. So I was meant to give this an additional animation apart from the motion part, which is the more entrance effect, which is to peek in, right? Good. So it's going to peek in right after the other picture. Right after this other picture. Good. So it's going to peek in before this. And the motion is going to come just right after it. So we're going to give this also a timing, effect options. You go to timing. You can give it also maybe some, it's the 10 seconds, 8 seconds is fine. Then we move to our next picture, which is this. Also give it effect options, go to timing, and give it some roughly 10 seconds. Pretty much that. So it's going to be coming to shape right about now. So we're going to be having the 10 seconds. You can see the drone. Drone's still looking too big, but then I'm sure you can see it's coming right up to what we want, but then we still have some animations which are not moving. So we just have to make some corrections to that. This is meant to start with previous. So it's meant to start at the same time. So we'll go to effect options, timing. So now we want Temitope to morph also into the last slide, right? Once this wants to come up, once we go into the slide. So we want Temitope to morph into the last slide. So I'm going to copy our image here and paste. You have to have a picture of what you're trying to do inside the slide before you can morph. So I send it to the back. It's definitely going to morph into that once I create the transition form here, morph, and I create so now Control P. So she's going to morph into here. Just exactly what we want. So we send this to the back. Good. Send this to the back. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So just going to morph into the particular slide. So pretty much come into shape, right? So we've been able to create and animate some of our slides. Some of the characters have been animated to give us the feel that we want. So just some minor adjustments you might need to do. Some little adjustments you might just need to do, which is pretty much what we're trying to do here. So you add your animations. Animations, once you're done animating the scene, we move to the next scene, which is sound effects. So you want to give some sound effect as to maybe some background music, the drone sound, the drone humming sound, the lady Temi Tokwe from the initial video, the entrance, she's saying hello once she comes in. So those background effects you can give. So we start with Temi Tokwe adding a sound to her. So I already have some sounds downloaded. So I want it to be when she shakes her, when she's shaking her head, it's going to give a sound. So I have some sounds downloaded on my system where she's saying hello. So good. So we have that already. Once she's there, so I'm just going to give this a little bit of delay because of my voiceover. About a 2 seconds delay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so gives this feel. So moment I click on this, she comes up and she says hello. Good. So that is fine. Effect option. So I have to remove this from the first one. Okay. So it's looking pretty much like what we want. We click on Demi Tokwe coming up. She says hello. The two other engineers, they pop up as well. So I'm starting my presentation and I say, meet Temi. So this is meant to start with previous, just about 75 seconds delay, 0.75 seconds delay. So I come in, meet Temi, and she pops up. Then I give her like 2 seconds to move from there, about to move in. Just minor adjustments, meet Temi. Good. So we have what we want for the first scene. She's going to morph into the second like we want. This is going to move from here to here. The drone is going to move. She's going to come up on the podium. Everything is meant to come up the way we want it to be. So just right about now, let's give it some additional effect. So sound effect for this has been done. So I want to give a sound effect for my drone sound. So I'll go to insert. I'll go to my media. I add audio on my PC. I go to, I have some audios already on my PC for the drone sound. So you're looking for sites to download sound from, you can go to storyblocks.com. So let me just take you to these sites. They are already open. So you have storyblocks.com. You could type in what you want, the drone hovering sound, the woman saying hello, anyhow you want it. But then there will be some watermark sounds on them which you have to edit. So if you want to edit your sound, you can go to Clydo.com. Helps you to cutting off some watermarks on their sound effects. So you can cut that off on Storyblocks. You could also go to Envato Elements for more sound effects if you need, some background music if you need them. Go to Envato Elements. So these are places I'll drop the link after this, so you could actually just easily go down there to download your song. So I have the drone sound already here. So I insert my drone sound. So it's here. So I want it to be with this. So you can see my drone sound here. You have the humming sound, so you can adjust the volume accordingly. Can easily adjust the volume so it doesn't get too loud when you're then I easily get to move this out of the presentation body so that it doesn't affect or show when presenting. So I can move this out. Can move this out properly. Good. So I have the drone sound, which I want it to play. So I give it a timing. When do I want it to stop? 10 seconds. No, I don't want it to stop after 10 seconds. Yeah, since I gave the drone 10 seconds movement as well. So I want it to also be 10 seconds. Yes, so 10 seconds, it's fine. So I want some background music, right? I want some background music the moment I start this particular slide. So I will go to same insert audio, go to my media insert from my PC. So I have some background music that we can play something sweet, which is good. So I have some, so you can reduce it so that it doesn't get too loud. So you can download all this sound from Inverter Element, Story Blocks, like I already stated. I will share the link after this. So you can play with reducing the sound a little bit so it doesn't get too loud. So now you have to add the effects to this. So you want this to start immediately. You're starting your presentation. You want the sound effect to be the first thing popping up. So you give it to effect options. You want it to start playing from the beginning and you want it to end after all your slides are done. So we have 3 slides here. So I'll type in 3 slides. After the 3 slides are done, I want it to continue playing. So no timing needs to be done here. So just effects from beginning, start playing, and after it's going to stop at the end. That is it. So if this picture is meant to start previous. So this is meant to start with previous. So we've given a sound effect from the beginning of that to the end. We've given to the drone. We've given to, now, since we are saying it's a factory location, right? Can we give a factory sound, maybe machine sound or something? You can download all those sounds, trust me, from those links I already mentioned. So I already had them downloaded. So I'll go to, on my PC, just a factory kind of noise. I'll play so you can hear that as well. Machine parts moving in the factory. So if I play this, you can, like a machine, yeah, so you can see. So you reduce the volume so it doesn't overpower your voiceover and all the sounds are not just everywhere at the same time. So that works. You can also move that out of your presentation. You can do well to move that out of your presentation. So that also works fine. Move that out of your presentation. So we have successfully given proper animations to all this. So it morphs into this. So this starts to spin. Good. Effect options. Tell it to repeat until next click. So you give all this to keep on rotating until the next click. Since they are rotating parts, give them some effect options. Their timing should be, you should keep on rotating until next click. So you just give them some effect options, rotate until next click. So my advice is less animations so that you don't have to have so much of problems trying to align them and put them into the right space. Yeah, the more animations you have, the more interactive your presentation is. It gives a feel of something coming to life. But then if you're just starting, you like to keep it simple so that you don't have everything mixed up in some sort of way. So effect options, I want this to also be until next click. So I want it to be until next click. So I'm just giving them the right until next click. So now I can give this a little bit of delay. So if I come to my animations, animation pane, I can make this delay a little. Then I can click on this as well. I want it to be effect options, timing should be until next click. Okay. So help yourself. The lesser the animations, the better for you. So you have until next click. 2 seconds, it's fine. So, and you have the last one here. Effect options, timing. Two seconds until next click. So factory machine, I want it to start from the very beginning together with the drone, right? So it's going to start together with the drone, reduce the volume, start with previous. So be sure to have all your distance right. So anyone that should start on click should maybe be, even the first one should not start on click. Once you're transitioning, they should start with previous. 9, start with previous, start with previous, and start after previous. This is also going to start with previous. Good. Then we have this coming up, right? Starting after previous, just to give us. So we can move all this up so that they're all starting almost at the same time. So pretty much that. So I can give this a little bit of delay. Let's say starting with previous after 2 seconds. Good. So animated all. So we can just give this people pretty much it. So any other thing. So now we've been able to do our sound effects. We've been able to give our presentations the sound effects required, which is giving a background sound to this. I want it to come in, the drone sound, the machine sounds, and so many other sounds we've given to it like that, just to give an effect of a factory environment. The background sound to give a feel. We gave the woman a voice, just like that. So next thing after the sound effect is recording voiceovers. So now pretty much we have something coming up like this. We have something coming up like this. So you want it to, it's going to morph into the next slide. So sometimes you could have your system maybe trying to hang up pretty much what you want. So you can see it's really not transitioning and moving into the next slide right here. So that is based off system maybe hanging at that point in time. So we don't have to bother about that. So we go to the last thing, which is recording the voiceover. So you want to speak and talk over this particular presentation, right? You want it to give a feel like it's not just a video, but they could still hear your voice and they know, okay, yes, this person is still the one talking. So they know it's your work, right? So to record a voiceover, you click on the particular slide, go to slideshow, you see where you have record. So you record from the beginning. So once you want to record from the beginning, it's going to bring you down here. So be sure that your microphone is on, your settings, you selected the right microphone, that's good. Your video is off. All you just need to do is to stay still and quiet. Then you hit the record button. 1, 2, go. Meet Temi, an automation engineer at Greenpeg, a team that offers several engineering services. So just like that, you could get to record whatsoever you want. So you do your voiceover. Once you're done doing your voiceover, you go to file, you want to export it as a video. You go to export, you go to create video, use recording timings and narration. Be sure to choose the option, use recorded timings and narration. Once you click on that, you go to create video. It's going to tell you to save. So you're going to click on whatever you want to save. And voila, you're going to be having your presentation ready. So pretty much how you get to create your PowerPoints from designing your scenes. First of all, be sure that you storyboard for your video content. You create exactly a replica of what you want to see in your video, your thought process of how you want your audience to understand the content of your video. You move to designing the scenes. That's going for the pictures you want to use, the characters you want to use. Directly from PowerPoint, you can access online pictures, but be sure to use illustrations after the particular picture you're looking for. Let's say an hospital illustration, a factory illustration. Be sure to put illustration or PNG. If that also works, to give you transparent pictures that you could actually move around and send to the back or bring to the front. Once you're done designing the scenes, you move up to animating the scenes. So this is where much of the work comes in, where you have to animate each of the characters to fit what you want, how you want them to pop in, when you want them to come in, the sequence in which you want them to show based on your story. So you storyboarded from the very beginning. This guides you to how to animate the different scenes. Then you go to your sound effects. Then you go to downloading sound effects. I'll put in the link to downloading the sound effects from after this particular teaching. So you have the Envato where you can download sound effects from, but you have to cut out their watermark using the Clydo.com. It helps you to edit the sound to match what you want. So you also have story blocks where they have some audio files and sounds where you could pick from. After you've done the sound effects, that's where you now go to recording your voiceover. So just stay still and press the record button, and you'll be good to go on your recording. So here we have where we started from the beginning, recorded all the way. So we can see this, the voice note we recorded, so we can add this to the presentation. So pretty much that's just a few things which might not have come up because maybe some effects were not being properly highlighted. So you want this to start with previous. You want this to also start with previous. Then last thing, we want to give an animation to this to exit. So we want to give an animation, an exit animation to her. Once she morphs in, she's meant to exit. So more exit effect is to, let's say, disappear, right? Would give that So I'll give her a little bit of delay of, let's say, 2 seconds. That's good. I'll bring this back. I'll put this back. And then this is to start after previous. This will start with previous. So one more effect we can give to our sound is to give a pop once they come up from the ground, which is effect options. I have a few pictures, which is the pop sound. Once they come up, it gives a pop. So you could give just to suit what you want. It can be, this could also be previous. So give the effect option, which is the sound, gives it a pop, and then that is fine. Then we can also give all this the pop up so that they can give a feel and the person can actually notice that something is still happening on your screen. So you click on each of this, the picture comes up, gives it the pop-up sound. So, and note that PowerPoint audio only allows for WAV file. So you see what I'm talking about when I say the WAV file. So you can see WAV file, and that's the only, so you can easily convert your files also. Just check online, you can see how to convert your sound as well. So easily, I think we've been able to achieve that. So maybe minor adjustments could be done. Just minor adjustments could be done. The previous, it's not on click. This is also previous. That's previous, right? So the last, maybe a little bit of adjustment I would like to do here is to give this a little bit of starting with previous with a little bit of delay. So just your animations determines how well you can do what you want to do. So you have to give them the proper timing. So one last thing I have to tell you is your first has to start on click. Your first animation in the first slide. It has to be on your, sure to check that every other thing is working fine. Your picture, the sound, sure it's working fine. Human with the hello. Good, good. So pretty much this, we have this image already misaligned. So this we gave animation to disappear, right? So I think we're very much in it. So I think we still have one more image to disappear. Good. So some of these techniques to take your presentation to the next level and impress your audience, impress your bosses at work by creating some lively presentations, make them feel, yes, this is something beyond normal, something anyone doesn't just come up to do out of the blues. I know presentation, a bad presentation is totally bad for business, right? So the last thing just to show again is we talking about doing voiceovers, which I already showed you. You go to record, go about that, and then you add your record from the beginning, It takes you to this environment, checks your microphone is working fine, check your recording is working fine, then you click on the record button. Another option which works fine for me is, another option that works well for me is using this record option. So you go to record, you can record the voiceover you want first, then add it just similar to you adding a normal sound. So you can just go ahead, audio on my PC, or you can go ahead and directly record a sound. So I could go ahead and just record what I have for Temi Tokwe and start by saying, meet Temi, an automation engineer at Greenpeg Engineering, a team that offers several engineering services. Temi is vast in on-site troubleshooting and maintenance of control systems. Her vast knowledge recently put her on the podium as an award winner in the Automation and Robotic Expert category of the Connected Awards. Believe it or not, her journey did not start here. It all began with her securing a college degree from Landmark University. And being one of the few ladies in this field, her determination and perseverance has brought her this far. Then you click the stop, you click OK. Voila, you have the sound. Then you get to put it on the first slide, put on the first slide, you take it up, you give it the exact timing you want it to be, effect options from the beginning to the last slide after the third slide. So you give it timing. So like I said, your first sound has to be on click, while this goes starting with previous. So now I think we're done with that. We can give it a try and then.
Hello.
Meet Temi, an automation engineer at Greenpeg Engineering, a team that offers several engineering services. Temi is vast in on-site troubleshooting and maintenance of control systems. Her vast knowledge recently put her on the podium as an award winner in the Automation and Robotic Expert category of the Connected Awards. Believe it or not, her journey did not start here. It all began with her securing a college degree from Landmark University. And then you save your options. So sometimes once your PowerPoint presentation is hanging, it's not going to go ahead to save. So that is it, recording voiceovers. Thank you very much. I'm sure I've been able to explain the details on how you can take your presentations to the next level using animations and creating videos using animations. Trust me, this is going to go far. You have comments, you can like this video, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can like the video, give your comments, whatsoever you feel, questions you have to ask, you can just type it in the comment section and I'll be more than ready to answer all your questions and give feedback. I will also be ready to share the links I already discussed where you can get all this sound effect from. I'll be ready to put them in the section. Thank you very much. And that will be all.